I do hereby call this meeting to order on this February 17, 2026. It's now 6 p.m., located here at 3300 Hillcrest Drive, Balcones Heights, Texas. Do we have any citizens to be heard? No citizens to
No,
be
sir,
heard.
you do
Okay.
not.
It is open to the public, but since there's no city citizens to be heard, let's move on to the business at hand. And that business at hand is the City Code Ordinance, Chapter 153, Zoning Codes, Article 3, Zoning Districts and U.S. Regulations, amending side setbacks, front setbacks, and rear setbacks in R1, R2, R3, R4, R6, O1, O2, C1, C2, M1, and M2 zoning districts. So at this point, we need to consider possible recommendation if okay. At this point, yes, we would call a staff member to elaborate.
Can you go down one? Or maybe it's probably 2 or 3 slides there. Yeah, please. Next, yeah, that one, that second one. Fantastic. So, as Mr. Garcia mentioned, we're going to be talking about R1 through R4, R6, O1 through O2, C1 through C2, M1 through M2. This is the proposed setbacks that we established from our previous meeting back in December. As you'll see, R1 through R4, we're at a 25-foot front setback. O1 through M2 is a 5-foot front setback. Side setbacks are 5 from R1 all the way down to M2. Notice there's a note 1 down there. We're light industrial manufacturing or retail use in C2, M1, M2 districts, but a residential use. The side yard needs to be 20 feet. So we're just making sure that there's a good buffer there. But that's just if there's any abutting properties. Currently, there's no zoning district where C2, M1, or M2 abut a residential district. For rear setbacks, we kept R1 through R4 the same at 25 feet. O1 through M2 is going to go down to 5 feet. Any questions?
Does anybody have any questions?
Again, this is just all we covered this in December, so this is all the
Okay, so just to be
material.
clear, the commercial side will have, what we want to achieve is pretty much if we have commercial across the board and it is a metal container, which can catch fire, obviously, it needs to have fire constant, which unless they have something inside the facility, we want to achieve the 3-foot back and sides. The front is going to have to have access for the fire department, obviously, for the doors.
So for metal specifically, if
For metal
if it's
specifically,
the shipping container ordinance, then I would have to open that ordinance up separately.
Yes.
And I think that's a city council item. I don't think
Correct.
it's under the zoning, but I can present it as, hey, we need to not look at these setbacks. We need to look at adding their own setbacks into that ordinance as an amendment.
Correct. And so what we wanted to do is, what we wanted to do as a planning and zoning is we wanted to make it uniform for everybody. So if they have a wooden for residential, if they have a wooden shed or container or garage parked, they would need a minimum of 5 feet around so that the fire department can get around. Not the 3, because the 3 is not going to burn. It'll burn on the inside if they have something caught fire inside, but the metal will contain it. So they would open the front. Obviously, that's where the department goes in. But on the wooden, which is most residential, build their garage, carports and garages and whatnot, we would require a minimum of 5 feet so they can get around. Okay, so that's what we're trying to achieve. So it's uniform, but on the commercial side, we need 3 feet because we need to maximize the limited space that all commercial has, so they can pretty much use every inch of their property to accommodate vehicles, storage, equipment, things of that nature. Along with that, which I will send in, propose that the unit cannot be unsightly, cannot be seen from the street. You know, we have to meet certain code. And what we're trying to achieve is to beautify the area so that you're passing down, you see all these Connex boxes. That's what we want to avoid. We want it to look nice, yet still accommodate the commercial so they can handle what they need. Excuse me, handle what they need to do with their property and utilize every inch that they can. So that's what I'm proposing, but we needed to start somewhere. And Nick did a fantastic job in doing it this way. So now we know that we're going to separate the metal for commercial and wood or metal, whatever the resident wants. So if the resident wants a metal one, he has to make it sightly. He has to match something. It can't just be a box in the middle of unsightly.
Yeah, so anything unsightly. So later on business item 2, Article 4, design and form standards, we're going to talk about screening. If we want to amend that ordinance, specific to any cargo containers. Right now, it's applicable to storage containers, mechanical equipment, and those items, but we can open it up, business item 2.
Yes. Also, just FYI, when it gets down to the point where the mall across the street and they need some type of emergency, there has to be a time limit on their Connex boxes in the parking lot because it's going to happen. It's happened before. So we need to have a time limit on how long we can have it out there for them, whether it be for emergency purposes or shipping incidents where they didn't get their shipments for whatever might have happened with shipping, a strike, or things of that nature. They end up with a trailer there. They can only have it for X amount of days, and that's it. It's not permanent for them.
So what I would recommend is that you all as a board write a letter to city council asking for them to open up the shipping and cargo container ordinance. From my memory, I don't think that it's part of the zoning ordinance, so it'd have to be opened up by them and amended by them. But
Correct.
if you identify that as an issue, y'all can write a letter to them asking for that identification and to understand what the needs of the community are.
Yeah, so what we want to achieve is tackle storage, whether it be residential, commercial, office space, or the mall. Any of the businesses, how long they can have for. They can't put a refrigerator out there forever. If they do, they're going to have to dress it up. Can't look like a container if they do so. So that way everybody is even keel and we look professional. That's what we want to accomplish.
Would that amendment not allow us to be able to vote today on what is stated? Would we have to write that letter?
No, you can.
Get that added and
You can vote on this right now, and the letter can come later. There are 2 different ordinances that we can address at different times.
So you
Let me intervene right quick.
Mhm.
The public hearing part needs to be heard and closed. This number 2 on your agenda is opening it up for discussion. I think we jumped the gun a little bit and we went into discussion, and it actually wasn't a discussion. It was direction to staff. So now you need to have the discussion by closing the public hearing for 1 and
Okay.
move into discussion for 2.
Well, actually, I did ask for discussion and there was no discussion.
Close
Okay, I
the
didn't
public
close
hea-
it. Okay. Well, I close it for discussion. Do we have a discussion on this? No? Okay.
I second that. Close the discussion, further discussion.
Got a motion on the table.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Just want to make sure.
Mr. Garcia, you open the number 3
Yeah.
and listen to the staff, and then you need to close the public hearing, and then y'all can discuss it.
Okay, now I hereby close open public hearing. for further discussion.
But before we move on here, what is the direction for item 2? Because there's not been an action on item 2 yet.
Well, the one that we're voting on today is for the 5 foot, correct? And everything got set back. The 30s went to 25, 20s went to 10 on the R6. The the O's went to 5, and the C's and M's went to 5 as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So if y'all don't have discussion and you want to make the motion to make the recommendation to city council.
Okay. I do bear here, make the motion to change these setbacks that were presented to us here to accommodate if it's a metal building, it would be 3 feet. In the
No,
back,
sir. You are voting only a motion
Okay.
on what's on the agenda, not what you're recommending to staff.
okay. I hereby count for a vote. On number 2.
I motion to consider the recommendation to city council regarding amending city codes of ordinances, chapter 153 zoning codes.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Okay.
Number 3 and number 4 look very much alike. The
Yeah.
first one is a public hearing that you open and then you close, and then you move into the discussion part, which is number 4.
Okay. I hear now open for discussion. Number 3,
Public hearing.
public hearing.
Public hearing. A public hearing needs to be opened, then closed.
Yes, sir.
Yes, before we.
And I do bear close it for discussion.
No. Public, you need to open the public hearing and hear the staff
Okay.
presentation, and then close it.
Be hereby open for discussion or open the public hearing and close it for discussion. No?
Just open it and allow him to speak, and then you can close it.
Okay. Public hearing is now open.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nick.
Thank you. Again, this is information that we covered back in December based on what the recommendation was for mixed-use district setbacks. These strike-throughs are items that we are removing. We're amending to a 20-foot, where is it here? 20-foot front setback. Shopping industries, maximum 20 feet, 5-foot setback from the front property. Apologies. And then no minimum side setback, and then a 5-foot rear setback. Non-intersection areas, 62 will go down to 20 feet. There shall be a maximum setback of 15 feet from side property lines, a minimum rear property of 5 feet. Any questions?
Not at the moment. Any questions? Okay. It'll be close. And now open for consideration, possible recommendation to the city council, amending the city ordinances.
State the whole thing. It's with
Okay.
mixed zone districts.
Okay. Now open to consider for possible recommendation to the city council regarding amending the city code ordinance, chapter 153 zoning codes, article 4, design and form standards, amending side setbacks, front setbacks, and rear setbacks in the MXD zoning districts. Any Discussion? No discussion? We close. It's now closed.
Someone needs to make a motion. Whole thing.
Number 4.
Let me see.
I'm motion to close the discussion. Okay.
Number 4, it's the second page.
A motion to consider and possible recommendation to the city council regarding amending the city's code of ordinances, chapter 153 zoning codes, article 4 design and form standards, amending side setbacks, front setbacks, rear setbacks, and mixed zoning districts.
Call for a second.
I second.
Call for second.
Sorry. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 The ayes have it. Now, discussion to provide business items would be discussion to provide staff direction on amending the city code of ordinance, chapter 153 zoning codes, article 12, sign and advertising devices.
Okay, so there's 3 items that I placed on for business. That way we can discuss and have a little more guidance on where we want to move. Signage is a topic that I get asked about quite a bit in community development, how it does not work for businesses. We can talk about all signage tonight as it's not specific to temporary signs, but temporary signs is what I get asked about more frequently. Just to go over the slide here, our temporary signs ordinance, we require a permit for any temporary signage. The permit is $50. It has a very strict height, setback amount, and time limitations on the specific ordinance. Height does not allow anything for anything larger than the 6 feet in frontage road areas. That would be I-10 or 410 frontage road, or 3 feet, or all the way down to 3 feet in the Hillcrest District. Hillcrest District is going to be your O1 zone properties along Hillcrest Road. This includes the pole for feather flags. That's a question I get asked a lot. Hey, my flag is 3 feet. Why can't I put it up on a 6-foot pole? It takes into account the entire sign, the entire pole. So currently, a lot of businesses want to be able to advertise to attract more business, and they're not able to. For their setback, it's a minimum 15 feet from any property line, so that's not very conducive to a good economic, area to attract any business. 15 feet, you're not going to see that from the road. These businesses want it close to the road. They want to be able to attract those cars that are driving by, people that are walking by, not something that's going to be right in front of the door. The amount, there's not more than any 2 signs that are allowed for any business or tenant. This isn't, good for a tenant that has a large space. It benefits those that have smaller spaces, that can advertise more for their storefront. But either way, it's not really taking into account the size of the business. Time limitations, I just copy and pasted what the ordinance says verbatim. There's a maximum cumulative time that temporary signs may be displayed at one location is 180 days per calendar year. No property or business shall display more than 2 temporary signs at a time. The text of any one sign may not be displayed for more than 30 days per calendar year. No temporary sign permit shall be issued for that same property or business for a period of 14 days after the expiration of the previous permit. So to explain that a little further, somebody comes to me with 2 signs. It's $50. You can display that for 30 days. After those 30 days, you need to take it down. I cannot see those signs for another year. You cannot have a sign displayed on your property for another 2 weeks after those signs are removed. If you would like to put 2 more signs on your property, they need to be different text, different design, and you will have to pay the city another $50. And then again, that process repeats. You will be able to display it for 30 days. We cannot see that sign for another year after they're removed. It cannot be the same verbiage, same wording, same design. So again, just wanted to bring this to your attention. Potential amendments that I'm seeing, should address these 4 issues: height, setback, amount, time limitations. again, I think once a week since I've been here for the past year, if not more than that, businesses are coming up to me wanting to display temporary signage that works for them that can attract more business.
Have we had kept a log of what they're requesting, what size they're requesting, and what kind of materials they're requesting?
We do not keep a log of it. I think it just varies. Every business is going to want something different, whether it's, yard signs, feather flags, banners, a banner that you're going to put on the wall, banner that you're going to display at the front of the property along the. It's a wide variety of different signages that people are requesting, but just something that is not high cost or high barrier to entry for them to be able to display these items.
Okay.
Or if they're trying to run an event, some sort of special event that they want to host and say, hey, let me try to attract the business during this specific time period. Currently that size limitation doesn't work for them in the amount of time.
Okay. I guess where I was going with this is if commercial, again, uniformity. Uniformity is what's going to make separate us from everything else. A small X by X, medium size, different shapes and whatnot sizes, but we have to have some type of a limit and not limit them to just one size because it might not work for them. So what I'm going to recommend is that on this particular one, we table it for further discussion
At a later date.
at a later date. Yes. Anybody?
Are we open for discussion?
No motion.
If there's any questions on the item, currently this is open for discussion.
It's open for discussion.
Yes.
So what do we have in place as a proposal? I'm looking at table 12.20A. Is that what's currently in place along with the,
12.20A and 12.20B, those, that PDF preceding those slides, that's the current ordinance for temporary signage.
okay. And we don't actually have something in place right now that we're considering.
I'm not recommending any specific limitations or changing the ordinance. I'm wanting more guidance on how we want to move forward. This is only a discussion item, not an action item. So it's just conversation that I want to understand where we want to move forward to.
Okay.
For example, where I live at the apartments at 520 Gentlemen, we were told to remove a banner. Can they place a banner for a year out there?
Currently, they cannot place a banner.
That's
if the
not-
banner
that's
is-
not a sign.
If the banners are considered temporary signs, they're not allowed to be over 4 feet, and you can't place it there for more than 30 days. So I'm assuming these banners are probably upwards of $100 to $200, and that's on the cheaper end. There's much higher end banners that people purchase. I think Scooters is one that just they're marketing to provide them 3, 4, 12-foot banners, high cost. They're not able to display them anymore.
And that's because after the 30 days is over, they have to come up with a new banner. So they're going to have to go through all that investment of not just the $50 a month, but the printing of signs.
Currently, they're not even allowed to display them at all because of the height limitations.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if the height limitations was not an issue, then they would not be able to display for more than 30 days.
Okay.
But if they were to come to me today or tomorrow, right, and ask for a temporary sign permit, I cannot issue that based on this current ordinance
Because of the height.
because of the height, because of the area of the sign, because of the setback.
Hmm.
Their setbacks were within those 15 feet, and their time limitations.
When they ask for that banner, and we're just using Scooters as an example.
Yeah,
Is
they
it
have
at the top of the building?
I'm sorry.
It's at the top of their building, or is it higher for their banner that they're trying to add to promote? That
If anybody were to come to me for that, right? Again, using Scooters as an example, they have not come to me for this specific purpose. It does not matter from the height of the building; it's from the ground level. So that's where we're going to measure any height from the signs, and that's where those limitations are going to start kicking in. So whenever I say 3 feet in the Hillcrest District, you're not going to see a sign that's taller than here on the Hillcrest District.
Right.
And most businesses are not going to want to spend that extra money to purchase a 3-foot sign that is a very unique and niche shape that it's difficult to locate and purchase. On top of that, you need to pay the city $50 and then only be able to display it for 30 days.
So also, if we're looking at a business that's on the Hillcrest district, right? If they're wanting to put two yard signs out there to attract traffic, right? The next month they would not be able to put those same two signs because of the current setup. Is that correct?
Correct.
They would have to pay another $50 plus they would have to print new signs to put out there in the yard.
Correct.
Okay.
And I want to make clear, yard signs are not allowed anywhere.
Okay.
Regardless of temporary signage, that's a different section of the signs ordinance as prohibited signs. So
Okay.
the only yard signs that you should be seeing within the city of Balcones Heights is political signs, which we do not oversee. Anybody can do anything with any political sign, or if it's in a residential yard, the ones you would see for a high school or whatever, you're for your kids, right? We can't
Right.
regulate those. But if somebody were to come to me with a small sign, they can only display that for 30 days. If it's within all the other regulations, they will have to remove it for 2 weeks after those 30 days. And then if they want to add another temporary sign, it needs to be a different sign and they need to pay the $50 again for another 30 days.
My understanding, those inexpensive for rent signs in front of the apartments, those aren't permissible.
Real estate signs are different. It depends on the material that you're using. So yard signs are ones that are the flimsy kind of, plastic cardboards. Yeah. With the two prongs.
Those are,
Those are not allowed. Real estate signs are again, a different section, and that's why I put it on here, all signs, so we can discuss it. But real estate signs, if it's a more sturdy material, it's acceptable.
And just out of curiosity, let's use almost as an example, right? If they have a sign in their yard, does this apply to residential where it says like "slow down, kids at play"? Is that okay? This is just
Cannot regulate residential signs.
understood.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Mr. Davila?
So just to be clear, are you asking us to come up with recommendations for how to change this code, or are you just bringing it to our?
I would like guidance on what items y'all would like changed. If you would like them more strict, more lenient. If you have a number in mind, great. If you don't, I can present something at the next meeting. I just want to know how we want to move forward, or if you don't want to move forward at all. We don't have to open this, but this is a common issue that I see every week.
I think they're extremely strict. And as having a business on Hillcrest, it'd be great to be able to advertise. We've had our issues with signs as well, but it seems a little heavy-handed, the 30 days, and then you can't for a year. And small businesses having to reprint signs all the time can get very expensive very fast.
I agree. As a small business owner, I think maybe working with them, if they're still paying a permitting fee per month, that we allow them to use possibly the same design. I mean, you said different font, different design.
Well,
Certain businesses have certain fonts that they use as a staple of their brand.
Right.
And so, if you're going to create a similar sign, even to reprint it with, the same font, it might get.
well,
think-
here's where the discussion was open for discussion. If we're gonna change it, then we need to table it, present something to him so he can present it to the city council so they can change the code. So we have to all come in agreement to what we think can help the business coming.
Can we
When do
avoid
you wanna do
using
that?
Table kills the agenda item. You just want to move it to the next meeting.
Okay, we'll move it to the next meeting. I recommend that we move, if somebody wants to. But also on the same note, without violating any rules, regulations, how can we 4, 5, or 6, or 7 get together and we can discuss this, we can come to an agreement? What can we do?
This is the place that you discuss this item.
Yeah,
This is where you're gonna discuss it and give him direction on what to present next time that we meet.
Okay. Keeping that in mind, we would need for Nick to send everybody those particular codes, right? And then we do our own, and then we come up with some recommendations. Then in here, we have to without discussing it anywhere else, come in here and try to figure it out? Okay, I see a problem with that because I have a business to run. He's got a business to run. He's got a business to run. So we can't just, we need to put our heads together so we can formulate some type of strategy so we can get this done. If not, we're going to be doing it in pieces over and over and over again. Okay, we forgot that. Okay, we forgot that one. Or we forgot this.
With all due respect, I do believe that a recommendation for discussion for next meeting should be using the same signs. I think the city benefits from the permitting fee, which is great for the city and great for us. I also believe that the business should have the opportunity to keep the same sign up as long as they're paying for it. That's a win-win, I feel, for both the business and the city. And then, yes, I do agree that maybe we can reconvene at the next meeting with some more time just to sit with this. I think that it's pretty in-depth, but I also think that we could come up with some good solutions along with allowing them to, possibly reuse the same sign, right? Because if a sign says roofing question, here's the number. How many times can a person say that? Every 30 days plus 2 weeks, right? So I think the city benefits from the permitting fee, which is great. And now we try to figure out on the next meeting how the business can benefit from it as well, by loosening some of these rules that are in place.
So with keeping that in mind, the problem that I see with that is that also we're going to have to set in the rules that the sign has to maintain integrity. It can't be all faded and all cracked and whatnot, because that's not what we want to achieve here. What we want to achieve here is beautification of Balcones Heights. That's why I got into P&Z, because that's my goal. That everything is uniform, everything's super clean, the streets are clean, everything is nice. You drive by and wow, this is nice. When you drive to Alamo Heights, there's hardly a grass blade out of place. So that's my goal. But we have to start somewhere. And we have to give the people that are paying quite a bit of taxes, which is the commercial side, give them a little bit more leadway so they can utilize their property to the best of their ability. And then on signage as well, we need to come into some kind of agreement so we can present it to the board.
When it says properties fronting limited access highways, what area specifically would that?
Any frontage road along I-10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So could we come to as we're discussing, can we come to some sort of consensus to give Nick something to work with for the next meeting if we're asking him to present something to us, so that we don't come up with 4 different ideas to present and then we have a long discussion? Can we agree that the height of the signs should be increased from 3 feet to a standard size that is more usable and visible for businesses?
Well,
Is that something that we can agree on?
we can't do that. We only have to go by what's on here. So,
But we're giving,
Right, we could recommend.
but we're
we
giving,
can
we're
recommend-
asking Nick to come up with a recommendation.
right. So what we need to do is not table it, but carry it forward. But then you can email Nick. All 4 of us can email Nick, and then he can put it together to what we come up with. Or you need something from him. What's the size for this? Send me this, that, whatnot, the other. He'll send it to you. You do your calculations as far as how you want it, and then he'll put something together from between the 4 of us. And then we can look at it on the next meeting, and they said, okay, yeah, that looks great. Let's go ahead and present this to the board.
Well, that's
The
my
city
question.
council.
Since we're all here, can we get through just some preliminary ideas of, we can all agree the signs are too short and the setbacks, so that way you have something to work off of.
Yeah.
Correct. So like next
Meeting-
meeting, we have like, say, let's discuss the height of the
So he
signs
can-
next
he
meeting.
can come in with something like, okay,
We'll
well, how about we
discuss-
do the height as
Yeah.
6 feet, because that's
Yeah,
standard.
I don't think it works that way, does it? We have to.
Yeah.
We have to just push it forward and then make the recommendations so that
Well-
next time, right?
You have opportunity right now to discuss,
Okay.
but given that you've just seen it, right, and you're
Right.
still formulating, it's healthy to have a conversation about it. And then maybe do both. Have the conversation tonight, send some more ideas to him during the interim, and then he can bring back the information next time.
Because our next meeting, it will be when? A month from now? Okay.
So personally, I'd be okay with increasing the height to a standard size. I think 6 foot is the shortest you can get commercially, and it'd be reasonable. Uh, Shortening the setbacks maybe to 10 feet so that we don't want it to impede sidewalk traffic. You don't want anybody smacked in the face with a flag, but you also want it to be visible as people are driving by. I'm not going to notice something 15 feet off the road. The amount, 50 feet, $50 every 30 days. I mean, that seems like a lot too. If everybody's coming every 30 days to get a permit for a sign.
Well, that's where we have to come to some kind of agreement.
That's why we're.
And it
discussing-
all is going to depend on the customer as well. So all of these things that we have to take into consideration. If it's a one-time deal, then, but what if that customer just opened doors and he needs 90 days or he needs 160 days? So every 30 days, he's going to have to come and pay. So that's where we need to come to some kind of agreement. But I don't think we can come to an agreement tonight unless you guys,
We can just discuss it.
yeah,
right?
we can discuss it. Absolutely.
And that, again, give Nick ideas so when he comes next month, we have something to work off of. is
Yes.
what I'm- And so, again, just to continue, the time limitations, I think, on these permits should be extended. 30 days is not long enough. I guess if you're having a sale or something, fine, but if you're trying to advertise your business, maybe take it out to 90 days if we're asking for $50. That way they're not coming back month after month, because what's going to happen is they're not going to do that. And then we're chasing people for fees. We're fighting with businesses that we want to bring money into our community. We don't want to chase them out. So maybe loosening the restrictions a little bit would be a good idea, in my opinion.
In a win-win for the city and the businesses, do you think that increasing it to 90 days with an additional $5 for the fee works?
I think that'd be fine. I think everybody would be okay with that.
$55
think-
for 90 days?
I think that it should have steps. If you want 30, it's X amount of dollars. If you want 60, it's X amount of dollars. If you want 90 days, it's X amount of dollars. That's how it all works. That's how San Antonio works. Most everybody works that way. The longer you get, you don't pay $150 for 90 days. But the way we're doing it, they pay $150 for 90 days.
Just for all of our clarification, but mainly me, I believe city council sets fee schedule, correct? So this is outside of this conversation. The $50 was placed there so that y'all understand that it is 30 days per $50.
Thanks. for
We
clarifying.
cannot change the fees that are set by city council. So
Can we make recommendations to them
Oh,
on
yeah,
that or
can we
not?
make
you can make recommendations to city.
So, that would be, me as a business owner, I would want to go with 90 days and pay the extra, let's say $20 every additional 30 days from the first 30 days. So, and just keep going. After that, you get up to 6 months, but then after the 6 months, we need to reevaluate, the city needs to reevaluate that signage, or within the first 3 months, reevaluate that signage, see if it still looks good. If not, they have to repair it, replace it. And that would be when they sign the contract to be, or the permit rather.
So we would set up a permitting tier that we would recommend to city council. We would recommend looking at height adjustment for signs, recommend restructuring the setback, and did we already say a tier structure for the
Yes,
permitting?
and
And
tier
then
structure.
as well as sign usage, which is, would they be able to keep the same sign or would they have to continue? So something that we could discuss at the next meeting.
Yes. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Davila?
Does that give you something to work off of to?
Yeah. So next meeting, again, next meeting is going to be discussion. I don't think that we're ready to make action by next meeting. I'll look at height. We'll look at a standard size. I'll go look and see what neighboring municipalities are using. Setbacks, we'll look at 10 feet and see if that's going to work. We'll look at time limitations, permitting tier by cost. I'll talk to Maria about that later on, see what we can do or how we can recommend that to city council based on the amount of time that we're issuing these permits. Alamo Heights was mentioned. Next meeting, I'll also bring Alamo Heights sign ordinance That way y'all can review that before our meeting and see what they're basing their temporary signs off of.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody good?
I
Any
think those
questions?
are all, I think those are all valid points.
Absolutely.
You know, they're all valid points, and we want to make sure that, you know, we continue to use the win-win scenario where the companies that are coming to Balcones Heights are happy being here, and then the city also stands to continue to look good and to benefit from that relationship.
So ultimately, what we're looking at is if I would have come in initially and I wouldn't have had to pay $500 for this permit, $500 for that permit and the whatnot, I ended up paying, I don't know how many, hundreds, thousands of dollars for permits. It would have been friendlier for me. Didn't know, I didn't want to disturb anybody, but it would have been friendlier for me if they would have told me, you know what, if you do this, this, or this, extended this, then kind of like a city liaison to the business, yes, the business owner, and make that connection to where it's friendly. We want to keep them here. Oh, those guys are awesome. They work with me. They found me a way to save me money. Ultimately, that's what we want. So, okay. And no further discussion? Okay.
No further discussions.
Okay. So now,
And please advise me on this. I move to table it. Do I need to move to table it?
You don't
no,
have to motion for this. This is
Just
just
in the
giving
city
you
was-
staff direction.
Okay, thank you.
the second?
You're just giving staff direction.
Oh, okay. So we hereby now close this business items. Do I hear a motion?
There's two other business items on the
Okay.
agenda.
Okay. Then the second discussion to provide staff direction and amend city code ordinances, chapter 153, zoning codes, article 4, design and forms standards.
Roy, can you move down? You're there. Okay, so as we mentioned earlier, specific to accessory buildings, right? Making sure that we're keeping the area beautiful. I believe that this part of the ordinance, right, addresses it the most, is screening the items off. Now, currently, we don't have it in place. Again, this is just for direction. This is for discussion. But item A right there, when required by this article, all mechanical or operating equipment, materials, or activities not contained within the building, such as drive-through equipment, outdoor storage materials, stationary machinery, outdoor servicing activities located in the street yard, shall be enclosed or screened by a wall or fence of solid appearance and sufficient height for this purpose. This, I believe, will address the accessory buildings, but the amendment needs to be made to include it into this section of the ordinance.
That is correct. We will make that, at this point, do we make the recommendation?
It would be
Would-
direction, and then next meeting I can
Okay.
provide you that ordinance, the amended ordinance. that we
Okay,
would look-
excellent. So what we were looking at is color coded to the building. So it looks like it's one facility. Okay, you have a beige building, but you have a green Connex box. Well, you need to match it. So it looks presentable. So it doesn't look odd, even though when they have, you can't see it when they close the gates, but they leave the gates open during the day, so their employees come in and out, they can see it. So it needs to match to a certain degree.
So
needs
we
to be
can't
aesthetically
regulate
pleasing.
colors or building materials that are used. All we can do is regulate if it's covered or not, screened
Well,
off or not.
Right now,
We can't tell anybody you need to use this color to screen whatever operating or storage items you have.
there's no, okay, let me get this straight. The city can't tell a business owner he can't use certain colors.
I cannot.
But you can
Okay.
tell them to enhance it
Hold on a
with
second.
plants or
Hold on a
shrubs.
Because there's a business just down the street from me that was told and was not to, he couldn't paint his building a certain color.
That is correct. That ordinance has since been removed.
Okay. All right. I wasn't aware of that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, then we need to make sure that it's not visible from the street at any given point, only when they open and close the gates. And that will keep everything in check.
So we want to add screening into
Yes,
this section of
yes.
outdoor storage or any accessory building.
Any accessory building or any equipment that's an eyesore, because equipment is going to be out there. So they need to cover it up.
We're talking equipment, AC units? I mean,
No,
we're talking,
I'm talking about like a backhoe or a bobcat or,
okay,
whatnot.
so you can't put a tractor in your front yard.
no.
Okay, that kind of thing.
Or
It needs
if
to
it's in the
be-
backyard, you have to have, and they can only see it from this side of the road, and it's in your backyard, you need to cover this fence so they don't see it.
Okay, and is there a regulation on, so I have a tractor that's 15 feet tall, but my fence is only 8 foot tall. Do I need to throw a, I mean, I don't have a tractor, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
use an example. Are we saying that they need to build something up higher than that to block it from all
No, well,
sight or?
If they have a 15-foot piece of equipment, then I think we have regulations to have such heavy equipment
Probably,
because they can't really just bring it in.
Okay.
It's too big.
even temporarily?
It's,
So there's other regulations
weight-
that address
weight
that outside of the
regulations.
zoning ordinance.
there's weight regulations on Hillcrest Drive.
Of course.
You can't have that weight. So that would be a moot point there. So, yeah, what
So-
ultimately what we want to do is that not to look.
So currently, right now, accessory buildings are not included in the screened items that we need to look at. So I will add that in for next meeting.
Yes.
Outdoor storage of materials is included and is enforced currently. Machinery, mechanical equipment, those are included. So if there was a backhoe or whatever, maybe those items are enforced. It's just accessory buildings we cannot touch right now because it's not part of the ordinance. So from my understanding, the direction is to include accessory buildings into this for next meeting.
That is correct.
This is viewable from the street, correct? Not like from my neighbor's backyard, or is it viewable from any part
Well-
of someone else's property?
There was a concern of one of the residents that spoke to me and said that they didn't want to see from their backyard the commercial stuff, because if they were having a party back there and they see all of this equipment, well, I mean, they paid top dollar for their property. They don't want to be staring at that. At that point, that's why I went with an 8-foot fence, so they can't really see inside of mine.
Makes sense.
And my neighbors don't really see. You have to really stop and look.
I just want a clarification
Yeah.
of what angle, like if they can peek through the edge,
No.
where's the line of, if you can't see it from the road, that's good enough. Or if we're saying all fence lines have to be,
Does this apply to RVs?
RVs are not permitted within the city.
Okay.
If you have an personal use or I guess an RV that you're going to sit on a lot for an extended amount of time.
I've
Like-
frequently when I'm walking through the neighborhood, I'll see RVs in people's driveways, and I'm trying to figure out if that's an accessory building or if it's used.
That's not considered an accessory building. It's a different part of the ordinance. Accessory would be more permanent solutions, not anything that's going to be mobile. And shipping containers would be included into that permanent solution.
So we can't recommend, like he was saying, color of building or anything like that, but we can enforce like shrubbery and plants, as it says here, correct?
You can
So-
enforce the screening of those materials.
Sure.
Now, there's a different section of the zoning ordinance that addresses screening materials such as shrubbery or greenery or those items that we can bring up next meeting.
Okay.
Now, I want to read the intent of the screening, lighting, and landscape material ordinance. That way we're all clear on it, right? So the screening, lighting, and landscape materials sections are intended to create a quality community image, minimize the impact of development on adjacent sites, allow property owners to create comfortable and appropriate private environments, and integrate all development into the overall community plan. So screening all these materials, but to answer your question, Mark, this should be any abutting property, not just the public right of way.
And to his point earlier, when he said if someone brings in like a 15-foot tall tractor temporarily, and they're on a job and they're bringing it in, that's not allowed this time, or
If it is a
storing it in the backyard?
job for a permit for work that is being done, that's
Okay.
separate from you housing your contractor business and storing that machinery there properly.
Okay. Because what's happening at the corner right here of Leisure and Gentleman, that's permitted, correct? Where they're having that tractor and that non-potable water truck parked there overnight and whatnot. That's
Leisure and Gentlemen, that is for the Crestview reconstruction.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's just where they're storing the materials temporarily through the work that's being done there.
Understood. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
Pieces of equipment that are there.
Yeah.
During the day.
There's one more section that we need
Yeah.
to look at for screening because this is going to address everything except the MXD district. Where can you go down?
So we now close discussion 2, open discussion
We're
3.
still open for the MXD portion as well.
Discussion to provide staff direction on amending the city code of ordinances, chapter 153 zoning codes, article 1, general provision, amending definitions.
Do we want to move on to definitions or do we want to discuss screening in the MXD district?
Mr. Garcia, he was not
He
finished for
still
num-
had more on the, on this. on the-
we're still on number 2.
Okay, so we're still in number 2?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
There's a MXD is separate from all the other zoning designations, so they have their own
Alright.
standards. So if you have your screen on, right, this is going to be screening MXD districts. This is a little more lenient. It's only looking at ground level equipment or I guess roof exposed equipment for those screening purposes. Are we looking to add into section 1 accessory buildings that need to be screened?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Are there any questions or is that the direction we
Is there any questions for that? On the number 1, provide screening for the temporary buildings?
As we discussed earlier, like you said with the mall, if they bring in Connex boxes or something for emergency storage because shipments or whatnot, we're telling them they need to screen those
No.
with fencing? That's
No.
separate.
That's separate.
Okay.
We're talking about permanent buildings.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said temporary.
Well, they're temporary because they're brought in as a Conex box. But they're permanent because you're going to leave them there. You're not, it's just your storage.
Gotcha. Permanent storage. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you.
So any questions? Any further comments on that? Okay, let's proceed.
At our apartments, when we brought in our waste disposal box, we actually built a wall
to screen the enclosure, right?
Screen.
Yeah.
with opening gate. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yes. Sir. So we're good with item 2. We can move on to 3 after the discussion is closed.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments? Any other discussion? Okay, let's close Article 2. Let's go to 3. For landscaping, additional landscape screening around the enclosure is permitted when feasible. The required landscape buffer shall be irrigated and maintained to help planting survive. Now,
Which section are you on?
that was number 3 on 153.426, screening of MDX, mixed.
I'm sorry. I meant to say I'm done with presenting business item 2.
Okay, but still on that, then let me retract that because so I don't have to worry about irrigation. I have artificial turf. So we need to somehow, and I got a permit for that, we need to incorporate that this is not required if you have, obviously, if you have artificial turf on landscaping. Versus landscape buffer shall be irrigated and maintained.
We can look at making that amendment and I'll present it next meeting.
Okay, excellent. All right, so we're going to go to the next one. Okay. The next one is the adjournment.
There's business item 3.
This is item 3. Okay, second. Rezoning. Okay. Discussion to provide staff direct amending the city code ordinance, chapter 153 zoning codes, article 1, general provisions and amending definition.
So there's a lot of definitions that we don't have in our permitted uses. And the first thing that we need to do is add those definitions in there before we can allow the permitted use type within the city. Now, what we see being on the rise quite a bit over the past 5 years is data centers. And I think that this needs to be added into the definitions. That way we're prepared in the event a data center does want to come in. And if we're going to allow it in any given zoning designation. But again, before we get there, we need to make sure that this definition is added into our code of ordinances. So what I'm proposing up here, right, is data centers, that bullet point, an establishment engaging in the storage, management, processing, and/or transmission of digital data and housing computer and/or network equipment, systems, servers, appliances, and other associated components related to digital data operations. Now, this definition is pulled from Loudoun County out of Pennsylvania, I believe. That is going to be the hub of all data centers in the United States. They have the most data centers out of any given county, any given area. They're on the forefront of, adopting them, bringing them into their area. I believe that this is a great definition to adopt. If there's any questions or any changes that we want to make to this definition,
We want to, I have a little bit of experience with data centers. And depending on where they're going to go, they require an enormous amount of electricity. I mean, like you would not believe. So we have to put in here somehow that the CPS needs to give them something dedicated to them. So if they don't overload citizens, the mall, the existing city, because they're drawing so much electricity to use their servers, their coolers, things of that nature. I've set up several data centers. And oh my God, it is a nightmare. The constant blackouts around they just eat up the electricity from around the neighbors around. And that's going to be a problem. So if somebody wants to move in here, they need to give us a study from CPS, what they're going to do to provide electricity for them and only.
The agenda is about adopting the definition.
Yes.
This is just what we're going to
No,
call.
I get it, but still,
Well, we
just
need
to keep that in mind, Okay.
Just one quick note. I know for a fact CPS is getting ready to be able to supply all the data centers with electricity. So they have been purchasing more electricity and trying to get different sources of electricity to be ready for all the data centers that are coming, because there's a lot of them coming. We just learned today during lunchtime that there's some more coming over here in Highway 90 and where's the other one?
Alpha Petrenko.
Petranco.
Yeah.
But TPS is getting ready for that.
Okay.
I want to make clear, yeah, this is only for definition in the future case if we want to bring them in or not. But not to get too off topic, I will not recommend a data center in the future because of energy consumption, because of water consumption. It's too high, especially whenever Bexar County is denying different communities, different housing projects because of the lack of water. But in order to be able to regulate those items in the future, we need to be in agreement for a definition whenever somebody does show interest in our community and say, hey, I want to build a data center. This is what we'll go off of. And then in the future, when we've provided them, hey, it might be a special use or permitted or not allowed at all, this is what we can go based off of.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree that this is a good definition. Does it need to be a vote?
It does
No.
no, it's discussion right now. If there's no changes that y'all would like to make, I will bring this up.
I
next
do. I
meeting.
want to make sure that we include there a study on what what kind of?
This is just definition.
Oh, yeah, but definition, but during the definition right here is computers, network systems, appliances, and other associated components related to digital operations. It's engaging in storage management, right? Processing. In the storage and management and processing of that information, we need to make sure that the CPS will be able to give them what they need.
So that would be regulating the actual permitting process, not the definition.
I just want to make sure that the city covers themselves, that we cover ourselves, saying, hey, you knew about this way before, and now you're saying that you want to take it from the poles that are going down Fredericksburg, and you're going to take it from the community that exists now?
We hear you.
Yeah,
It's the definition right now.
okay.
It is written down for future.
Excellent.
But are there any changes to the definition, or is this
I think the definition is good as it stands.
Same.
So we need to, okay, close. So here we're now adjourn the meeting. It is now 7 o'clock. Thank you very much.